Davis with a very important press conference for you today. I'm keeping my voice up because we're actually downtown at City Hall. And what we're doing is talking about a press conference on inmates and the ex-offenders and the job fair where 8,000 of them showed up. So listen to a portion of the press conference.
All right, good afternoon. I'm glad everyone is here. This is a very important press conference, and not so much to announce an initiative, but an effort to increase the awareness throughout our community as it relates to the challenges that former offenders have here in the city of Dallas, throughout the state of Texas, and indeed throughout the United States of America. We're here today under the leadership of Brother Curtis Wilson. We have Reverend Freddie Haynes stands on route. We have Rick Smiley, radio personality and comedian extraordinaire, who represents that wonderful station, The Beat, who's here today to articulate and also to express the need for providing assistance to this very much needed population. Each one of them are going to speak. My name is Leo Cheney Jr. I happen to serve as a council person, but I wanted to expound upon the City of Dallas initiative as it relates to assisting former offenders with efforts to reintegrate into society. Gaylord Nelson is the project coordinator. The City of Dallas has a program, has initiated a program. It's in its infant stages. It's called Project Reconnect. And Project Reconnect is a program which was developed to develop collaborative partnerships with county and state governments and nonprofit agencies to promote, number one, a healthy reintegration experience for former offenders. Basically, that will foster the reductions in recidivism, repeat offenders, and basically this is an effort to work with the other stakeholders who have the same challenges. You know, our former offenders, and I'm going to move on to Brother Curtis, but I want to say that we've discovered a million challenges here in Dallas County. We have an average of 800 inmates returning each and every month. One of the major challenges that they have, number one, is job, housing, and employment. And I think we as a society and we as a city have a responsibility to work with our law enforcement officials. Here at the City of Dallas, the council has a commitment of hiring an additional 100 police officers per year. But I got to tell you, hiring police officers is not the only panacea to solving and addressing the societal ills that are confronted with us as it relates to the challenges in dealing with and trying to reduce crime in our city. We've got to develop partnerships. We've got to have social services available to assist this especially challenged population. And so we're here today, once again, to enlighten the general public about what we're about, to let you know that the City of Dallas is in the process of doing what they need to do as it relates to Project Reconnect, and that this is one of those situations where the entire village must get involved. The police cannot do it by themselves. We've got to work together to help these folks, former offenders, many of whom may have committed nonviolent offenses when they were 19 years old. I've had situations where people are 19 years old and not 30 years old and still have, challenges getting employment. And so here at the City of Dallas, we have when you apply for a job, you have to, you place on the application whether or not you committed a felony or not. I think, what I like to see is for this particular application to be blind, in the sense that employers would have an opportunity to interview these folks. If they like them, if they have the necessary requisite skill sets, then you bring them back for a second interview, then you move into the criminal background check. We realize that not all former offenders can work in certain environments. We're cognizant of that. We're not ignorant about that. But we do know that people deserve a second chance. Bottom line, the folks have been locked up for years, and when they get out of the penal institutional system, they're locked out. And we think it's time out for that. So having said that, I want to bring Brother Curtis Wilson to the forefront and let him continue our press conference. Thank you, Councilman Chamberlain. Good afternoon to everyone that's assembled. I want to first of all say that before me first of all, let me give kudos to some service providers that came out and made this event what it was. Without them, we could not have done what a tremendous job we did do. Let me just first of all say that we were able to place over 200 men and women on jobs. 200 men and women left the job fair on last Wednesday with jobs, with an opportunity. We were also able to register over 500 new registered voters that were on paper, parole, and probation, and this is the data that we have before you. I want to first of all give kudos to a couple of service providers. As Councilman Cheney has said, the City Project Reconnected, also Ms. Joyce Ann Brown with MAS, Dr. Beverly Mitchell Brooks with the Dallas Urban League, the Texas Work Source, the City Attorney's Office, and the X Factor, in which I'm the Vice President. I am the Vice President of the X Factor and also the Vice President of the Texas Alliance for the Formerly Incarcerated. And one thing that I want to really make mention to is that, yesterday we made knowledge of the Hurricane Katrina victims that are here in our city. I want to say that there's a large amount of people that are here in our cities that are displaced, just like our brothers and sisters that are coming from New Orleans. And I don't want anybody to forget about those people. We were able to place 200 men and women, but there's thousands and thousands more that were not able to be placed. And so what we want to do is we want the city, the state, and the county to remove the box. And what we're saying is we want you to block the box. The box what we're talking about is that box that all ex-offenders or formerly incarcerated people have to check when they go to seek employment. We don't have a problem with the background checks. We're not saying that you shouldn't do your background checks, but what we're saying is we want them to have an opportunity to come in and bid for jobs. We want them to come in and ask for jobs. We want them to be able to come in and sit down just like regular citizens and be able to be looked at as regular citizens. These are men and women that have done the time, they've served the times in institutions, they work while they were there, they're skilled, they're ready to work, and just by the amount of people that showed up on last week, that should show the citizens of Dallas, the state of Texas, that these men and women want an opportunity, and we deserve to give them an opportunity. And let me just say, I stand in proxy for all these men and women that showed up. And we want to ask the city of Dallas, the state of Texas, and to our Senator Royce West, we want to ask for forgiveness for whatever sin that we have committed in the eyesight of God and in the eyesight of our fellow citizens. We ask that you forgive us. We now want to be looked upon as productive citizens. We want to pay taxes. We want to be able to be fathers to our children. We also want to be able to pay child support. We can't do that if we don't have jobs. So I beg of you, the citizens of Dallas, to our mayor, to our president, to our city council members, please block the box and allow us to be productive citizens once again.
This is Esther Davis. Just get that second cup of coffee and join us every Saturday morning at 5:30 a.m. right here on Independent Television, and again on Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. We're looking for you, The Esther Davis Show.
For my son.
My family.
For my husband.
For Amanda and Madeline.
For Billy.
My niece, Ebony. She's 6.
For my family.
My wife, Tabitha. My son, Brody.
And my son, Justin.
For my mom.
My sister, Tori.
For Eva.
For my son, Ryan, and my daughter, Ashley.
For my little sister. For my father and my sister.
For my grandma.
For my wife. My daughter. For my son, Christopher.
It is not for ourselves alone that we serve.
15 years ago, my grandmother died of Alzheimer's disease. I saw it steal her memory, mind, and spirit. Today, I'm an Alzheimer's researcher, working to solve the mystery of this disease. 4 million Americans have Alzheimer's, and hundreds of thousands are diagnosed each year. There is so much research to do, and we are not going to stop until the job is done.
Call Alzheimer's Disease Research at 1-800-437-2423 for free information on Alzheimer's disease.
My name is Richard
cast the first stone. And I think that everybody deserves an opportunity to live. Everybody deserves an opportunity to eat. You know, the Bible says that the earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. You know, this earth belongs to everybody. Everybody messed up. You know, and all of us went to prison for little things that we did, and everybody in here, I don't think nobody in here perfect. And, you know, the federal government said that people don't want to work. And so we're going to give these jobs to people over here because people don't want to work. And you get about 8,500 people to show up, to get up 5 o'clock in the morning out of their bed and stand in line in the hot sun, willing to work, filling out all kinds of forms and applications. We have 6,000 job fair registration forms right here on this table. And we were able to place 200 people in jobs, thank God for that. You know, even if we were able to just place one person in a job, then we did our job. But it's a process. And, you know, and like Brother Curtis said, you know, we're asking on behalf of Ricky Smiley Morning Show, we're asking all of the employers and people that have the ability to employ to please, you know, take this into consideration and give people an opportunity to work. You know, spending all this money on trying to hire new police officers and all of that stuff or whatever, you know, people are getting desperate. You know, the economy is bad. You know, the gap between the rich and the poor is wider and wider as the years go by. And people are getting desperate to feed their families. And we don't want to send people back to prison. And, you know, that costs money. So let's block the box and give people opportunity to work. It's simple. It's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. And so, you know, and we're humble. We ain't making no threats. We're humble. We're asking and we're begging any employees out there to have jobs available. I don't care from flipping hamburgers to washing cars. Something. Anything is better than nothing. We ask you to join us and help us out where we can put people back to work and give people a second chance. Thank you.
Curtis, I want to thank you for the opportunity for being here today. Yesterday, the last couple of days, I've been down in New Orleans just kind of looking at where we are 1 year after the fact as it relates to New Orleans. And needless to say, my wife's family is from New Orleans, and that's one of the reasons I had to go down there. Curtis made what I think is a very astute observation, that yes, we share the grief, the pain, the anguish of our brothers and sisters from New Orleans and from Mississippi and from Beaumont, but we still have issues here in Dallas also. Think about this as I served on the Criminal Justice Committee for some 10 years in the state senate, and I've been a former prosecutor, halfway decent defense attorney, so I've got some unique perspectives on the issue of criminal justice, not only in this city and county, but the state and also this nation. Let me give you this statistic. When you begin to look at those persons on probation and parole in the state of Texas, you have about 600,000 persons that are on probation or parole. In Dallas County alone, we have about 12,500 persons that are on parole here in Dallas County alone. You know, Councilman Cheney's already told you the number of people that we get in on a monthly basis. Needless to say, we get hundreds of persons in here in Dallas County each month. Come back, they've been incarcerated for petty offenses, but when you begin to break it down, some of them, most of them, have been incarcerated for drug-related offenses. When you begin to break it down a little further, you will see that when they left going down, they had less than a high school education. This is what I want Dallas to understand. If we fail to act now as it relates to African-American males and Hispanic males, this is what we find. There's a report that just came out called from the Schlotz Foundation. What it says is that in America, that 5 out of 10 African-American males are graduating from high school on time. Let that sink in for a second. In Nevada, in Illinois, it's 3 out of 10 are graduating from high school on time. In Texas, 5 out of 10. Those are the statistics. And when you look at the criminal justice system and you look at the probation and parole system, males, African American males, Hispanic males are overrepresented in both of those statistics. When you begin to look at the 8,500 potential employees that showed up last week, both males and females, you think about those persons that are hungry to find a job in order to support their families, and they're unable to do so because they've been labeled as a criminal. I concur with Curtis that we need to put some tape over that box and let people be judged based on exactly what they bring to the place. Don't get me wrong. I understand that there must be a balance as relates to whether or not a person's background is such that they are not suited for a job, their criminal history background. I understand that. There's no way in the world that I would hire a rapist, needless to say, to work in a daycare center. I wouldn't hire a child predator to work in a daycare center. Would you hire a bank robber to work in a bank? No, you wouldn't. But let's not judge everyone by just one standard. Let's give them an opportunity to seek employment. I challenge the Dallas Citizens Council and the Dallas Chamber of Commerce, the Texas Association of Business, that continue to talk about the development of employees and our workforce here in the state of Texas, to stake out a position on this issue. We may not agree, and that's fine. But the Texas Association of Business, the Dallas Citizens Council, and the Dallas Chamber of Commerce should articulate a position on this issue. And we may not like what their position is, but they should have a position on it. And I would encourage them to do some extensive research to make a determination as to whether or not it's prudent to have a program backed by our business community to make certain that those persons that are returning to our community have an opportunity to reintegrate within our community and not be recidivists, that being persons that end up going back to the penitentiary because they're unable to find the necessary means to effectively reintegrate back into their family, back into their churches, and back into their communities. Thank you.
This is Esther Davis. Just get that second cup of coffee and join us every Saturday morning at 5:30 a.m. right here on Independent Television, and again on Monday morning at 6:30 a.m. We're looking for you, The Esther Davis Show.
My name is Dwayne Carraway. Let me say first, giving honor to God. Let me personally say thanks to Councilman Leo V. Cheney for leading the charge on behalf of this city. Leading the charge on behalf of this city. Let me say thanks to Brother Smiley for leading the charge on behalf of communication, communicating the efforts of the dream and of the need. Because without that communication, the beat, without you, we wouldn't have had the 8,000 to show up on last week. Let me say thanks to Senator Webb for leading the charge on behalf of the state. Because without the support of the state, then we have some concerns because we must go through legislation. But also let me say to Curtis, we call it Big Brother Curtis. It was just 200 people, Brad, that got jobs last week. But it was thousands there. But you got to start somewhere. Right. So last week, we got 200 people freshly smiling. And we still got 7,800 that's out here in a very disappointed mindset. As I walk through these streets, and I see these folks, and I talk to them, they tell me of the disappointment that they had because they've gone to fill out this application and they got their
hopes and they dandruff all up to knowing that they're finally about to get a job, only to get that phone call to say, well, after they checked my background,